I was brushing my teeth this morning when the toothpaste tasted kind of weird. That's when I realised it wasn't toothpaste I was using, but rather mayonnaise. And that got me thinking. Good day, you absolute legends. Welcome back to another edition of Update News. Now, today's hot topic is June 12th massive update, question mark. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've just had some information that June 12th could be a very important day for No Man's Sky indeed. But before we do get into that, as always, can I just ask a massive favour from your lovely selves? Can you please leave a like on this very video? It is very much appreciated. It really does help me out a lot. And don't forget as well that YouTube unsubscribes you, the viewer, from your favourite YouTubers without your knowledge or consent. So can you please just make sure for me that you are still subscribed to the channel? And if you need to resubscribe. Or if you like what I do here, you've been watching me for a while, then why not consider hitting that subscribe button anyway? You won't regret it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to cover today, so let's get right on into it. Now, what makes June the 12th such an important date? Well, there is actually a little bit of context behind this, so please let me explain. So as you can see right now, I am by the Quicksilver Synthesis Companion, and he serves a very important role in all of this. Just recently, the tiered items for the Quicksilver shop that we get maybe every month or so has just fully unlocked, and then straight away, we've just now had an additional 3 tiers added for 3 new items to unlock within the Quicksilver shop. Now, it's nothing too spectacular, it is just 3 decals. Now, it's not the items themselves right now that are important, it's Paw Prints, Awakenings, and the Stars decal for anybody who wants to know. However, that seems to be going pretty quick for completion, already at 20% for tier 1. Something doesn't seem overly right with that. And it's not, ladies and gentlemen, because there is funny business at play here. Now, believe it or not, that this time around it has been discovered that these items are actually on a timer and there is a countdown that's been initiated. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you all know him, you all love him, Mr. Captain of the Steves has put out a video about this already, and he's spoken to a chap called Kurt, also known as the assistant No Man's Sky. He's the guy who made the app, fantastic guy. Now, they had a conversation, and this is a message that Kurt sent Mr. Captain of the Steves.
And he says, "Good morning, I just had a look and the community mission should end on Wednesday, June 12th. 2024 at 11 AM GMT.
Now, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you can all come to your very own conclusions about this. However, I find it interesting that the Quicksilver shop is going to be ending by itself at 11 AM on June the 12th. GMT time. Now, if that is the case, why would they need to rush that through? Why is it on a timer? Because those Quicksilver items are meant to be part of what the community are doing. It's not meant to be on a timer. It's meant to be by the efforts by us in order to get those items into our hands by completing the Nexus missions and so on. And this is something we have talked about before, where Hello Games are artificially setting timers and limits and raising the bar whenever they wish or slowing it down for completion. It's a known fact they do this. So there is a question now that needs to be asked, and it needs an answer. Why is there a timer for the Quicksilver items? So I've been thinking about this. And ever since I've seen Captain Steve's video, I've been really thinking about what could this possibly mean. Now, I've come up with 2 possible answers to that question. Now, both answers are either a massive update or an expedition. Now, please let me explain why. Now, scenario number 1 is, let's say, the expedition. Now, usually, whenever we get an expedition, we have a bunch of new Quicksilver items that are obviously in the Quicksilver Companion that you can go ahead and unlock as part of the expedition. Now, usually, they would need to have a clean slate on the Quicksilver items guy in order then to get the whole lineup then for when the expedition is complete. That's usually part and parcel with how it normally works. So it would then make sense that there is a timer to this because they've got a set date for the expedition to start, and therefore the Quicksilver item shop needs to be cleared by then. So obviously these last decals are last in the list to be completed, and then they can roll out expedition items. Now that is theory number 1. So theory number 2 kind of runs off the same principles as theory number 1. Need to clear it out for the Quicksilver shop because there is a brand new update. With new update, as we know, with a massive update, we get new decals, new eye candy, new stuff in the Quicksilver shop to unlock. So at this point in time, any two theories are gonna be correct. However, I will make the argument right now, and we'll see whether in time I'm right or not, that this actually could be a major update, just because of how late in the cycle it would be for an expedition to happen right now. As I've already spoken about in a previous video when I did a deep dive into all this, and I've shown that there is a June or July cycle to massive major updates going back off previous. And with my own research, I can conclude that, well, June is well on the cards for a major update. So in my mind, even though it is plausible, an expedition right now wouldn't make much sense with the update cycle. But with how this year is already gone and how different it's already been to previous years, I may very well be wrong. There very well could be an expedition. But if we're just going off the usual patterns here, it would suggest it's more of a major update than an expedition. But like I said, both at this very moment in time are the correct answer. We just don't know. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, I did some investigation, to see if Mr. Murray has even been active on Twitter as of late, and I also went over to SteamDB to double check prices and things like that for the game in certain countries, because that is always a good telltale sign if anything major is coming around the corner. And this is what I found. So let's go over to Mr. Murray's Twitter first of all. So when I went on to Mr. Murray's Twitter page, there was weirdness happening with the Light No Fire video. So maybe that's something, maybe that's nothing. Might just be Twitter being Twitter, but you just never know. The next one was a lovely portrait that was uploaded by, I believe it was Sully. Yeah, there we go. I thought I'd seen that picture before. So well done, Sully, for getting a retweet by Mr. Murray there. But that was only at the time of this recording 10 minutes ago when that picture was announced. So he is currently active this morning anyway on Twitter. So maybe throughout the day, there may be some more information come to light. So you just have to keep a close eye on Murray Watch. So after researching on Twitter, I went over to SteamDB to have a look at the price charts. Now, as we can see at the very top there, for the British pound version of the game, it's still at £49.99. There has nothing been changed yet with the pricing for the Great British Pound. I've also checked the American dollar, the Canadian rubles, and also Australia, Germany, France, that kind of thing. But in South Asia, that does the USD, there is a 68% discount. The Russian ruble is at 66, Chinese yuan, whatever, is at 61%. So you can see, respectively, there are discounts still happening worldwide with No Man's Sky right now. It's just not happened for the British pound, or for the UK, should I say, for America, for Germany, France, and so on, Canada, that kind of thing. So usually it's when those countries start to see a discount, as always, then that's when there is going to be a major update. But so far, there is discounts happening worldwide, so maybe it might be a small indication, possibly. But more interestingly, however, I went over to the branches. Now, the branches version tells us if anything's going on with the internal branch, expedition, or the public branch of the game. Now, this is the thing. We've not had an update of any kind, not even a patch update for normal bugs, in 24 days. Now, as we know, Hello Games loves to put out patches. I mean, virtually every week there's a new patch update going on to experimental. But the fact is, that's not happened. And it's been so long, which again is another possible, and I want to just really relay that, possible indication of a massive update due. And to be fair, it would make sense. Now, we don't know until it actually happens, but whenever there is a major update about to happen, this is always what we see. We don't see any movement in internal, expedition, or public, and it will just lay dormant. Now, this is nearly a month, which again is unheard of, because if it was just going to be like a regular month with regular updates, then it wouldn't be not updated within that month period. But the fact is, An entire month has gone past virtually and no updates. So I'll let you come to your own conclusions with that. But that could possibly mean that they're now gearing up for the next major update, and then they'll do the bugs, and then they'll do the patches, and then we'll start seeing more and more movement. But I reckon over the next few days, at the very least, we'll start seeing some movement on internal branch. So I will be keeping my eyes peeled for when that does happen. And as soon as it does, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be the first to know. So with everything in this video so far, it is a very compelling argument, I believe so, that there is literally something around the corner. Now, it would go against the grain cycle, as we've already spoke about previously, that this time around in this year should be a July update, but it's not unheard of for it to be a June update either. It usually goes July, June for updates. But with No Man's Sky having an already unprecedented year with the release of Orbital being so early, then you know what? Anything could happen this year. It is a free-for-all year as far as updates and content, because Mr. Murray even said going up on stage, and I have mentioned this previously, that you know, No Man's Sky for the Game Awards, should I say, he went up on stage and went, No Man's Sky this year is going to be the biggest year to date. And you know what? I definitely believe the guy. I think that this year is going to be unprecedented. I think it's going to be something that we've not seen before. And it would make perfect sense because we know that Light No Fire is just around the corner. We know that Light No Fire will be released at some point either later this year or at the very latest, early next year, because, you know, you've got the new Grand Theft Auto coming out, and there's going to be a lot of competition in the gaming industry as it is with that. So developers are already rushing to put out games. And at the end of the day, they've been sitting now in Light No Fire for the last probably 4 or 5 years of development, something crazy like that. It was discovered. So at the end of the day, it would make sense with Light No Fire just around the corner. Hello Games essentially want to put everything that they've ever wanted in the game. They want to make it as best as possible because, you know, they are only a very small team at the end of the day. And with them only being a very small team, they have limited resources. Now, juggling 2 major platformer games, No Man's Sky is a major platformer game. Light No Fire, as ambitious as it is going to definitely be a major platformer game. So a small team juggling 2 big ones like that, it's gonna be a stretch. It really will be. So I reckon this year alone will be the final big push, getting all of the latest and greatest into No Man's Sky that the developers want to get in before Light No Fire comes out. Because then after that point, I'm not saying obviously they're going to be completely discarding No Man's Sky. That's far from the truth. But what I will think and I expect to happen is Light No Fire will then take priority. And No Man's Sky essentially will just start getting updates but at a much more slower pace. So I'm not saying there won't be content updates. I'm sure there will. There'll still be content updates. There'll still be bug fixes to go around that. But rather than getting 4 big major updates a year, we might only get 2. Maybe even 1, who knows? And we'll just get maybe smaller expeditions, but again, they might just be sporadic over throughout the year. We won't probably get as many. And obviously, we'll get bug fixes, I'm sure. Maybe just as much, because bug fixes don't take as much time out of the team's day than just obviously making brand new content overall. So I'm sure bug fixes will still be a thing. But yeah, that's what I think. And that's the direction that I'm going to in this case. But as always, let me know in the comments section down below, what do you think about today's video? Do you agree with my assessments that June the 12th could be a very significant day indeed? Do you think that maybe over the next week we'll start seeing some movement from Mr. Murray? Do you think we'll start seeing movement in the internal branch? Do you think there's gonna be an emoji drop anytime soon? I honestly think there is gonna be an emoji drop just right around the corner, and I think it's gonna be when we all least expect it. But anyway, you know what to do, ladies and gentlemen. Leave your comment in the comment section down below. And as always, my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.